All right, welcome back. And today's tutorial is going to entail the lighting plan, and this is our target for today. We'll be setting up the lighting plan by first defining the rooms as the spaces for effective load calculations. Then we are going to be importing families, placing lighting fixtures and switches. And I'll also show you how to set your view range. For the first part, determining your spaces so that you can effectively put your lighting fixtures. First thing you're going to do is you have to select the model. Okay, that is architectural model. Then you click on your property window. You click on the edit type. Now under constraint parameter, you see room bounding. So we're going to check that and apply. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, we will now go to on this your ribbon. We click on analyze. Then under analyze, you are going to be seeing space separator, space tag. So just click on space for now and replace it in all the spaces you have within the building. Okay, that will be all for now. Then you escape. We have all the spaces. Then we want to make sure that the space we have in our electrical model has the same name as what you have in your architectural model. So we go to space naming. Under analyze, you want to make sure you select the first one, that is names and numbers, if you want to have the room number as well, or if it's just the name, the room name alone. But for now, we just leave it at names and number. We're applying for all levels and then click OK. So the name, if you notice when you hover over the space, you can see on the screen that the name of the space is now there, WC1. And you can also click on the space and under the property bar or window, when you scroll down, you'll be able to see the details about the room. That is the room area, this 3.6 meters square. You also have the room name, WC, the room number, and the likes. But if you want to actually have the tag in the plan, you can still go back to where you have space tag under analyze. Select it and bring it to where you have the spaces. This is the bedroom, this is the kitchen. When you are hovering over the space, you can click to leave it there, then you escape. Now whatever you're going to do, okay, think we didn't include this one, so we can click on one of these and say create similar. The shortcut for create similar is CS. So there is a lobby, click it and then escape. Now if you notice our space tag is kind of too big, so you can also edit that. Let's just do with that one first. When you click on one of the space tag, you can see where we have edit family. So we click on edit family to take us to a new window or interface. So we can select everything here, or you can do it one after the other. You see the property window, you click on edit type. So we reduce on that text size, we want to reduce it and make it smaller. Leave it at 1, and then want to like drag this closer. It won't be too far off. The volume, I think I'll need to do a video on families, how to edit families, the different kinds of families that we have. When we are done with this, we can now load and close into project, self-contained, then okay. I don't want to save changes to the tab. Overwrite existing version. Now we have the smaller. This fit well into the project. We can click on the space, go to edit type. We want to see the area as well of the room. We'll apply okay. And this, we cannot see the areas of the room. The lobby is 2 meters square, the bedroom is 16 meters square, kitchen is 6 meters square, and we have the visitor's toilet 2 meters square. Okay, and then the room tag is showing this line, this rectangular box. So we need to remove them. We just click on one of these, then we click on edit type. Where we have show space number, we just need to uncheck it and apply. Okay. Now the rectangular box is gone. And I just want to make a brief explanation on. Okay, I will just leave that when we import the lighting features. Okay, now when we are going to be applying our lighting features, already what we have here is the space allocated by the space tag you're having here. This is exactly what we have on the architectural plan. But you that you're going to do the lighting, the load calculations for your lighting, you want to make sure that you do proper zoning for your light. For example, this bedroom that we have 16 meters square here as the area, we is including this small lobby that we have here, then also this entrance space that we have here. But when you observe it clearly, you would want to separate this and make it a space on its own, and you probably want to do the same thing for this side here and make this a space on its own. And now to do that, this is something you are doing on your own plan. Now this was not what we have on the architectural plan, but you just want to make it easy for you to do your light analysis and probably make it easy for your load calculation as well. So what you do is you still go back to where you have your analyze, and you see where we have space separator. That is what is useful. So you click on it, and we apply from this edge to this other edge. So automatically we've separated this space. We'll also do the same thing for this side, from there to the other end. We separated our space. So we want to place a space there, and also here we give it a name of your choice. Since you're the one creating this, when you click on this, you go to your property window, You scroll down to where you have this name and number. This is a new space you created, it doesn't have a name yet. So we call it lobby 1. Since we already have lobby, then we apply. Then this, we can call this um probably the entrance. I'm not sure if that is the right name for that space, but let's just go with entrance for now. Then we apply. And you want to like select this space tag and drop it there. See, it's carrying the name we already gave it. So I think that is all for that one. Then this line you're seeing, if you don't want to see it, like I said earlier, your visibility graphics is where you control what you can see on your plan and what you don't want to see. But right now we don't want to see these lines. So what we do is we just go on VG. So we go to where we have lines, L will take you straight to lines. So under lines, you notice that before your line, there is this plus sign that we have at the back. So you want to click on that, it will expand. So under this, you can look for where we have space separator. You can make this a little bit wider so you can see the naming. We have here room separation and we have space separation. So if you uncheck this, that space separation line should disappear. Apply and OK. You see we're no longer seeing it. So with that out of the way, I think the next thing to do now is to bring in our families. Now to explain what are families, what we refer to as family in Revit, these are the fixtures you are going to work with. These are your lighting, your bulbs, your sockets, your panel buses. And not just that, in your architectural model where you have like this, your bed is a family furnitures. There are several of them and they have different categories that you can identify them with. So these are called families. I think in AutoCAD we refer to them as is it blocks we call them, but in Revit we call them families. So in order to have your lighting in, I think in Revit we have okay, let's just assume we have families already imported in this project. How do you bring them into your plan? Okay, so we go to let's say this is a floor plan. This is a floor plan. So we want to open ceiling plan. Okay, remember the naming we did in the previous tutorial was just for the floor plan. This is the floor plan and we name it ground floor. So we have to do the same thing for the ceiling plan as well. The ceiling plans is where you place your lighting. Okay, I will explain the difference between the two. But first, let's rename this. This becomes a ground floor lighting plan. Just put a little bit of ceiling lighting plan. We're not going to be including the ceiling plan on our panels. We're only going to be working with this, but to place your lighting fixtures, you need a ceiling plan. So we rename this as a roof level ceiling lighting plan. Then that is that. So to place our lighting fixtures, we're going to open this ground floor ceiling lighting plan. See, it is a different window. Like I say, this project browser is like a viewport where you open different levels depending on what you want to do at that moment. All of them, they are independent of the other. Whatever settings you did for the first one will not apply to this, so you have to set them. And there's a way you can create a template that controls all the viewports that is in the same template. So whatever you do on that template will affect the rest. But for now, let's just do the basic. We're doing one after the other. Now on the ground floor ceiling lighting plan, like I said earlier, we don't want to see this grid line, at least for now. So we press VG, and grid lines are always under annotation categories. So when you just tap on G, it should take you to where we have generic models. We uncheck this grid and then apply. Okay, now we're no longer seeing this. So before we go to importing of families, I want to explain the difference between this ground floor lighting plan and ground floor ceiling plan. To do that effectively, I will need to open one of the elevation view. Let's work with east elevation. Now on your ground floor lighting plan, the view that you have is, let's just click on the ground floor lighting plan. We are now on the ground floor lighting plan. Now on your property window, it tells you everything you need to know regarding that view. Now if you check, when you scroll down to where we have underlay orientation, the orientation you have on this view is that you are looking down. That means let's just assume you are placed above, maybe you are above and you are now viewing the floor plan from the top down. That is what this ground floor is telling us. You are looking down from the top. Meanwhile, ground floor ceiling lighting plan is telling you that you are looking up. When we scroll down from your properties window, where we have this underlay orientation, you see where you look up, we're looking up. On your elevation, it means your point of view is from down up. So what we are seeing here on this ground floor ceiling plan, what we are seeing here is the ceiling. While on the ground floor lighting plan, what we are seeing here is the floor. So whatever you're going to be placing here is going to be on the floor. While whatever you're going to be placing here on the ceiling plan is going to be on the ceiling. That's why we use the ceiling plan for placing the lighting fixtures. But if what you are going to be placing, the family you are going to be placing is wall mounted, is something you can place on the wall, you can either use your ceiling plan to do that, or you can use your ground floor lighting plan to do that. All right, so after placing the room tag, differentiating the spaces, zoning it, the next thing is to import our fixtures. There are two ways you can import fixtures. You can go through system, then under electrical, you select one of these: electrical equipment, device, lighting fixtures. Then when you are there, you can click on load family. You navigate to the folders where you have your fixtures. Then you can select what you want and you click open. For instance, let's say I want to select this diffuser, is a lighting fixture. I click on open. Now we have it in the project. Okay, that is one way of loading family. But there's a general way you can load different categories of families. which I think that should be the best way to insert family into the project. So what you do now is basically almost similar to the procedure we use in linking models. So you go to insert. Under insert, you see where we have load family. So you click on this, it will take you to the folders where you have your family. So you select what you need and then you click open. So automatically it will be loaded into your project. I've already done that, so I have them already in the project. That is why I didn't select any one to insert. And again, if you don't know where to get families from that you can use with your project, I recommend you go to this site beamobject.com. Beamobject.com is one of the places you can get free families. You just need to sign up and you search. They have so many families for different softwares. We have SketchUp, we have 3D Max, MicroStation, Archi, CAD, AutoCAD, and the likes. So you search for what you want. You can use the search button. This is lighting. You can search for wall outlets. You can search for different things, mechanical devices, or even architectural devices, equipment, furnitures that you need for your projects. You can search. Beam Objects is very effective when it comes to that. So with that said, that is where you can get one or some of your families from. There are other sites you can use as well, but I recommend Beam Objects. You can also create families. I will do a video on that some other time. Now, with that out of the way, the next step now is when you are dealing with lighting. Like I said, when you want to place your lighting, especially those ones that are ceiling based that you need to mount on ceiling, you don't just mount them on floor plans, you need to do them on your ceiling plans. That is why under lighting we have floor plans, we have ceiling plans. It's still the same thing, just that on your ceiling plan, your view orientation is down to top. That means you are looking at the ceiling, you are viewing up. While on your floor plan, what you are saying is your view orientation is from top to down. That means you are viewing down. Okay, so when you want to place on ceiling, you want to use a ceiling plan, and when you want to place like your furnitures, if it is architectural plan, you want to place your chairs, your bed, you use a floor plan to do that. Okay, now with that out of the way, we open ground floor ceiling plan. So this is where we are going to be mounting our ceiling based lighting fixtures. Now, to bring in our lighting fixtures, you go to system. Under system, you go to electrical. Now, under this electrical, we have the wires, we have the cable tray, we have the conduit, we have parallel conduit, we have cable tray fitting, we have conduit fitting, we have electrical equipment. Now, what they mean by electrical equipment, these are like your distribution box, your cabinet, okay. And under device, what we have under devices, you click on this drop down arrow, you see electrical features, you see communication, you see data, you see fire alarm, you see lighting, you see nurse call, security, and telephone. All right, this electrical feature is basically referring to your wall outlet. Your wall outlet. The communication has to do with your public address system, like your speakers and the likes. Then we have data, which entails the RJ45, basically networking. Then we have fire alarm. That one is pretty straightforward. We have the lighting. Now this lighting now is not like your normal light bulb. No, no. The lighting that we have here is another name for switching. So it's basically your switches, your two gang, your one gang switch, three gang switch. Okay, then we have the north core, straightforward. We have the security where you have your camera, your door, your access control, you have them all under security. Then we have telephone. These are pretty straightforward. So the only confusion that you might have here, because the way you know it conventionally might not be what you have here on Revit. Lighting is basically telling you about switches. Then we have electrical features, which is the same thing as your wall outlet. Then when you want to place light, your light bulb, where you go is under this lighting feature. So you click on it. Say this is a wall mounted light. This is a wall mounted light. The name is searchlight main outdoor. Under property you can see the name porch lights, flush lights, main outdoor. So it's meant for outdoor, maybe security light. Now if you notice, it's not showing when I'm hovering over the ceiling. It's not, it's telling me I can't place it here. Why? Because what I have selected here is vertical face. That means I can only place it on vertical walls. Okay, if I want to place it on the face of the ceiling, I can select place on face. Now you see I can now place it on the ceiling. Okay, but this type of lights are not ceiling based, they are wall mounted, so we place it on vertical walls. You have them on all sides of the wall. You have one here, maybe another one here. I'm not going to properly place them. This is just like a demonstration on how to work with some of these features. So if you want proper lighting tutorial, I think I'll make a different video for that. But for now, we're going to be focusing on the basic thing like importing family, placing them, and seeing how they work. It is our ceiling plan. Normally, if we are to go into lighting proper, I think you should like give our spacing under modify. You can click on dimension from the edge of this wall. See what this is. From the edge of this wall to where we have the light, you should leave a space of, let's say, minimum of 450 millimeter. Minimum of 450 millimeter. Can go further than that. So at least let's say 800 millimeter, at most 800 millimeter away from the edge. Okay, but that is not the focus on today's tutorial. It's to just show you how to mount these things. I believe you should already have an idea on the code requirements for placing some of these lighting fixtures. So we are done with the wall mounted lighting fixture. So we can now go to system again. Under system electrical, click on lighting fixtures. Now on your property, you can see this drop down arrow. Click on it so you can see more fixtures. Okay, we have this. I think this would be nice for our column. You can select it, give it an elevation. Now the function of this elevation is it will tell you this is where you see the importance of setting your levels before placing fixtures. It will tell you what height are you going to mount this light, at what height is it going to be from the ground floor. Okay, as it is right now, it's showing 0.0. So when we place this light, see it's not even showing right now, so we increase it. Since it's here's a column light, it's not going to be too high. We can keep it at, let's say, 1.5 millimeter away from ground floor. So we place it on this column, place it on the other side of the column. Okay, I think that is that with wall mounted lighting. We can now go back. If you don't want to continue going back to system, electrical, lighting fixture, there's a shortcut for lighting fixture, that is LF on your keyboard. LF. Now on your properties, you click on this arrow once again. You'll see this pendant light here. You can select one of the options you have. Now this is not going to be vertical face, so we need to place it on the ceiling itself. So we say place on face instead of place on vertical. We use place on face. Now you can see we click on the ceiling itself. Okay, that is that. We don't want to use this anymore. We can still LF, click on this drop down arrow to see more options, and we'll continue scrolling through. Okay, I think I would like this for this sit out. I'm going to have it at the sit out. We drop it there, and then LL again, and let's see. We can see, okay, we have this diffuser. This services lights actually. So we click on mini, small one, place on face. You can have it here. Recess light. Remember the zoning we did. This is going to be one zone focusing on the bedroom only. These are lobby, this is the entrance. So we are going to have the standard size for the lobby. We have this for the entrance, this for the visitors toilet. Also have this for the kitchen. We have this for the main toilet. While this mini recess light can have it for this small lobby we have here. Can have like two for this lobby as well. So with that done, think that is it for the lighting. So we are done with defining rooms and spaces. We imported families. We are now placing fixtures and switches. So we go back to the plan view. The next thing we want to do is to make sure that the lighting are well positioned. Okay. Use a dimension. How did I pick the dimension? Under where we have this modify, say escape. Under modify, you see, this is where we have align dimension. You can work with this. Pick it similar to what you have on AutoCAD. Okay, let's say I want to have this like 500 millimeter away from the wall. Same thing for the top side, 500 millimeter away from the wall. Then I use my align tool to align this, and same thing, align to align this. Then the dimension again, do the same thing for this side, do the same thing for this other side. Click on this lighting feature in order for you to be able to edit the distance. So here it becomes 500 from the wall. While here, click on this, becomes 500 from the wall. Okay, now this deleted. We align this to this. Align, short code for align is AL. We align this to that. Okay, so we want to make sure that this pendant is at the middle. So we click on dimensions again. Horizontally, we want to make sure it's at the middle. So we select the midpoint for the three lights and click on equal. That way it's at the middle. Delete and unconstrained. So dimension again, that short code for dimension is DI. So let's check for the vertical. When you selected every at the middle, you click on equal, escape, you delete this, click on unconstrained, and you are done with that. Now I want this lobby light here to maintain the same horizontal positioning with this. So we align and we use this as a reference and align this to that. Okay. Also want to make sure that is at the middle of the lobby. 394. Okay, we have 394 on either side, so that is set. Do the same thing for this side. Three 80. Okay, delete, align AL to make sure this is also on the same axis, and distance from the wall. Remember what we have here is like a wardrobe. Okay, so we can make this let's say 750. Do the same thing for the other side. We make it 750. All right, so the two lobbies done. Do the same thing for this. I'm just trying to let you understand how this thing works. We are going to have here becomes 750 dimension, trying to make sure all sides are equal. Mm. Just say dimension this, and then make it equal on constraint. Don't delete this. All right, so you do the same thing for the rest. Make sure they are well positioned. Okay, at the central. Use your dimension line to confirm. Say for instance this 815 35. So basically 847. Okay, so all the dimensions for this. I'll make this 6, click on this 650, 638. Okay, this 44, delete. So align this, this as well. All right, so this is how you place your lighting fixtures. Okay, and the next one is we can now go back to the lighting plan. This is how it is. So remember the lighting that the placement of the lighting was on the ceiling plan. So when you go to your elevation view, okay, let me make it clearer. Under annotation, we don't want to see the level. Okay, we'll leave the levels for now. Lighting fixtures. So click on lighting fixtures to make it visible on our elevation plan. Now you can see. Remember, always remember to save your work. Now you can see all the lighting fixtures were placed on the ceiling plan. Why? Because we use the ceiling plan. But if we are to use the ground floor lighting plan, for instance, let's say we create similar with this, and I'm placing it here on the face. If you go to your elevation view, you see it's now placed on the ground floor. So that is why we use the ceiling plan for placing ceiling based lighting, why we use the floor plan whenever we want to place anything that needs to be mounted on the floor. That is just the difference. So we delete this, it's not going to be needed. So that is that with the lighting plan. Okay, now the next thing is, I believe that is the last thing on our video. We have switches, then I'll tell you how to use view range. So we go back to the ground floor lighting plan, then we go to system. Under electrical, we have devices. Click on the drop down arrow, then your switches are under lighting. So we click on lighting. You can see on your properties, this is a 3-gang switch. 3-gang switch. We want to select the level is on ground floor, and make sure it's vertical. It's no longer on place. Switches are meant to be placed on walls. Make sure it's vertical, and we normally have the elevation from the ground level to be 1.2 meter, that is 1200 millimeter. Okay, now I want a 3-gang switch that will control this lighting, this and this. That is all the exterior lights, 1, 2, 3. So we need 3-gang on this side. Then I'm going to need a 1-gang. Scroll up, select 1-gang, one way to control this entrance light. So just place it, yeah, 1-gang, one way. And I'm going to need like 2-gang to control. I want these 4 lights, recessed light, to be controlled by 1-gang, and I want this to be on another gang. So we're going to need like 2-gang. So we select this, or we go back to electrical. You can select this and you say, okay, create similar. You use create similar to search for more, or you can still go back to system, electrical, then click on devices, lighting. Now I need 2-gang. I'm going to select 2-gang, one way. Give it elevation that is 1.2. and placing it very close to the room there. The idea is when you enter, you can on this, and when you are there, you can use this to control the lighting within the room. Then we will also need one gang, very similar. Give it elevation 1, 2 for this lobby. You can place it somewhere there. We need one for this visitors toilet. Place it at the entrance where the door swings. We need this for the kitchen. This will be inside for the two lights, and we're going to drop this here, this. Okay, so this is how you place your switches. We need to make sure the elevations for the switches are 1.2. This is how you place your switches. Now another thing is, let me explain the view range very quickly. All right, regarding the view range, this is our ceiling plan, ground floor ceiling plan. When you click on the view range, that is VR, that is the shortcut on your keyboard. Okay. Now the orientation on this ceiling plan is that you are viewing from the ground floor to the top. You are viewing from down to the top. Okay, so you're basically seeing the ceiling. Now, this course plane determine from what height will you start viewing from. Okay, as it is right now, 1.2 is the height we start viewing from. That's why you're still seeing this your switches. The switch is mounted at 1.2 from the ground floor. So from that 1.2 upward, these are the things you'll be able to see in the plan. So if I should increase this to, let's say, 2000 millimeter, that is 2 meter from the floor. Remember, our switches are mounted at 1.2. Okay, so 2000 is above that. That means, oh, if I click on apply, we'll not be able to see the switches anymore. Since we are looking up, the view will now start from 2 meter and above. Okay, if you want to see things that are lower, you reduce this your cut plane, let's say 1.2, so that the view will start from 1.2 upward. Okay, now let me explain this on the elevation. This is what it means. This around where we have our switches. Remember, on the ceiling plan, you are viewing from down to the top. Now where you have your switch is around 1.2, and that is the cut plane. That means you are viewing from that level upward. So if you increase it to like 2 meter, which is around this point, you are going to be viewing from this point upward. So every other thing below it you won't be able to see. The same thing is applicable to the other plan where you view from top to down. So that is how you use your view range to manipulate the things you want to see on your plan, the things you don't want to see. So that is that with the view range.